for the State of the Union address 6 times.
Okay.
I've watched it probably 15 to 20 times, bits and pieces. But this one was not good.
No good?
It was tedious. It was boring. I had trouble listening to it sometimes. I decided to heck with it, and I went and downloaded the full transcript of the speech the next morning. And since I'm professional, I read through it.
Okay.
And I found it equally difficult to understand or to agree with. Granted, there were sections in here where the words sounded good, but I had no idea where it was going and what it was all about. He talked about the great job they've been doing with Ukraine. They haven't done a great job with Ukraine. If you look back in history, you find out when the Soviet Union broke up, Ukraine was in possession of numerous nuclear weapons, very substantial number of nuclear weapons, probably the largest number of nuclear weapons outside of the Soviet Union. And the Western powers came in and said, here's what we should do. Give us the nukes and denuclearize Ukraine, and we'll protect you.
Right.
How'd that work out?
Well, it hasn't worked out so far, has it?
No. Did Joe Biden talk about that?
No.
Did he express regret?
No.
In any way that maybe that wasn't such a good idea? Briefly, because I'll talk about Taiwan a little later, my job in Taiwan was to report on the Taiwan nuclear program.
Right.
And my reports resulted in shutting down that program because the United States of America said they would protect Taiwan. When Taiwan looks at Ukraine today, what are they thinking?
Where are you going to be when China comes calling?
What are you going to do when the Chinese decide they're going to land? Where's America? Where's Joe Biden?
Yeah.
Joe Biden is in the pocket of the Chinese. But getting back to the speech, Ukraine gave up their nuclear weapons. Not that we want a nuclear war between Ukraine and Russia, but at least when Russia shakes the nuclear spear and points it at Ukraine or wherever, they could shake it back. Say, oh, you want to nuke us? You're on full alert? Well, we're on full alert too. What do you want to do? Smoke the whole country and we'll smoke you? Is that a win-win? Or maybe you should get your damn troops out of here and get your airplanes out of our airspace because we got nukes too. And this could be really bad. But that's not even, there's not even a discussion of it. There's not even a discussion of the fact that the corruption in Ukraine was facilitated by the corruption of Joe Biden and his son Hunter. You talk about, we're going in there and Ukraine is great and they got great leadership, which they do now, but they haven't in the past. What have we done to deal with the issue of corruption when our own vice president and now president have been up to their ears in corruption in Ukraine? It's hypocrisy. It's ridiculous. Joe Biden talked about the issue of taking 30 million barrels from our own strategic petroleum reserve because, there's going to be a shortage of oil.
Yeah.
And the price is over $100 a barrel, which is predictable.
Sure.
It's been predictable.
$110.
So what is Joe going to do? Well, Joe is, today I can announce that the United States has worked with 30 other countries.
Right.
To release 60 million barrels of oil from reserves around the world.
Fabulous.
Boy, is that cool?
That's great, man.
Is that terrific?
That's awesome.
Yeah, 60 million barrels.
Yep.
And how long is that going to last?
14 hours.
Yeah, about.
Yeah.
Less than a day.
Yeah, less than a day.
Did he then go on to say, and I will withdraw all of my executive orders shutting down American petroleum exploration and development?
No.
I will reopen the federal properties that I closed with executive orders.
No.
I will look for the number one partner in the world to deal with our energy issues, which is not Canada or Mexico or Colombia or Venezuela. Who's the number one partner, Lee?
That we have
Yeah.
was Russia.
No.
What do you mean a partner?
Who's the number one partner that's going to help us deal with the oil crisis and the energy crisis? We listed our 5 major trading partners: Canada,
Yeah, not
Mexico,
them, not them,
Colombia,
not them,
Venezuela,
not
Saudi
them.
Arabia.
No.
Who's number one to help us out?
Us.
Us.
Oh, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trick question.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
too early.
Thank you very much.
Dang.
Yeah, us. You put the mirror on the wall.
Of course, it's always
And
us.
look at the mirror.
Right.
Hey, Joe, I don't see in your speech anywhere
Yeah.
where you suggested we walk away from the Green New Deal, led by that idiot Sandy Cortez,
Yeah.
who probably when she mixes a martini, she mixes it with vodka, not gin. Right? What do you think?
You could.
Yeah, because, I'm going to the liquor store. People say, well, Rob, what are you going to do? I'm going to go to Cask and Keg. I'm going to go to Kevin's over in Mystic.
Yeah.
Cask and Keg. And I'm going to buy the biggest bottle of Russian vodka I can find.
Some Stoli.
And I'm going to say,
Yeah.
Kevin, tell me this was made in Russia.
Yeah.
I don't, if it's got a Russian label and it was made in, Brooklyn or the
Yeah.
Bronx, and then they just stuck the label
We don't
on,
want
no
that.
good.
Yeah.
I want a bottle, the most expensive, biggest bottle of real Russian vodka
All
you
right.
can find.
All right.
And you know what I'm going to do with it?
Pour it in the street?
I'm going to walk out, uncork that sucker, and pour it in the streets.
Yeah.
What can I do? What can you do? There's not much we can do. But the doc was correct. He touched on this very briefly. The one thing the American president could do at that speech that he didn't do, he's yabbered about our partners and the oil reserve and blah, 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 blah. The one thing he could do right now is to reverse his lunatic policy on American energy independence and say, you know what? We do need to be independent. We do need to develop our energy resources. And for those who say, well, there's not enough time. Well, the trip of 1,000 miles begins with the first step, does it not?
Sure does.
1,000 miles. Lee, we can't. Can you walk 1,000 miles?
Sure.
You can?
Yeah.
Listen, that's a long way.
Of course.
But how do you start that trip?
One step at
One
a
step at a time.
That's it.
It's like the pygmies and the elephant.
Sure. How do you eat it
Hey,
out?
how do you eat this elephant? Said the pygmy to the other pygmy. And he scratched his head and he took his poison dart gun and kind of leaned on it a little bit and thought about it a minute. And then he said, well, I guess one bite at a time. Yeah, that's how we eat it. So no, this is, they should have been standing up and somebody shouted out, drill, baby, drill. But that's a fundamental message that we should have had in this speech that we did not,
Well, they don't want that.
we did not do it.
They
It's a
don't-
policy issue that we could have announced
Right.
and set a standard of leadership, and he failed. He goes on to our fellow Ukrainian Americans who forged a deep bond that connects our two nations, including a Ukrainian-born member of Congress. We stand with you. We stand with you. He said it twice.
Yeah.
Maybe it was written twice, or maybe he just kind of forgot and said it again.
Oh, it's only once in there?
But if you're an American in Ukraine,
Yeah.
will he get you out?
No.
No.
No, of course
No.
not.
No. If you're an American in Ukraine,
No.
and we stand with you, except you're standing there,
Yeah.
and we're standing here.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you want to get out, good luck. But we love you,
Yeah.
and we stand with you.
Sure.
This is a fraud.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just fraudulent. It's just fraudulent. And we have the strongest growth rate in 40 years. This is economics.
Yeah.
Why do we have the strongest growth rate in 40 years, Lee, right
Why?
now? Yeah, why? Can you figure that one out?
Yeah.
Why?
We-
Figure it
because
out. Break it down for me. I'm
we-
not an economist.
We
Break
pump
it down.
the most money into the economy than any time.
I see. And where has the economy been during COVID?
It's been in shutdown. pretty
It's
much.
been in the toilet.
Right.
Worse than the toilet.
Right.
It's been in the sewer.
Exactly.
Okay, so when your economy is in the sewer because the government has shut it down,
Right.
what happens when it reopens
It's
a
great.
little bit?
It's fabulous.
It goes up.
Of course.
It's the fastest growth rate in 40 years.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah. From 0 to 60.
So factually,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Right.
but placed in the context of where our economy has been, that's BS.
Did he lie about the deficit too?
Oh,
Right? He said
come on, lie. I mean, I go through this thing. Oh, here, listen to this one.
Yeah.
You know, now we're doing Biden, the hard scrabble Joe.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen so much of this crap from this guy over 40 years. It's just disgusting. It makes me puke. But anyway, I was a single dad for 5 years raising 2 kids. Okay, sad. His wife and one of his children died in a car accident. 2 survived. That's okay. That's sad. But you know, we know that, Joe, and you've been pulling this heartstring thing for your whole career, and we know it. And when will this rest in peace? But it probably won't. I got a lot of help though. He got help from a mom, a dad, a brother, and a sister, and that really helped.
Yeah.
And what happened when they really helped him?
I don't know. What do you mean?
He helped them.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, how do you do that?
No, well, he used the power of his office to enrich them. They're all millionaires.
Okay, I see what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
So I mean, they helped him, and he helped them. That's
yeah.
all I can think of.
Yeah.
$1 million houses,
Sure.
you know, book deals.
Payback.
Payback.
Yeah.
It's payback time.
Right.
You shouldn't put that sentence in
Yeah.
there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so.
Are you at least happy that the border is going to be secure?
No, I'm not.
No.
We didn't talk about that.
Well, he said he was going to try to do that. Did he say
He
that?
said, and what did they say?
Well, let me find. I got
got
the
it right here.
You do? All right. What do you got?
Yeah, he says we got to do something about immigration, and people started jumping
Well,
up
let's hear it.
and cheering.
Let's hear it.
Bullying, violence, trauma, and the harms of social media. As Frances Haugen, who is here tonight with us, has shown, we must hold social media platforms accountable for the national experiment they're conducting on our children for profit.
Wrong one.
Play
If we
the.
want to advance liberty and
Wrong one.
we need to secure our border.
Oh!
System.
Oh! Oh!
So there you go.
Oh!
There you go.
And what did people start chanting? Build the wall, right? Where are all the fences for the wall right now, Lee?
Don't know. Where
Well,
are they?
no, they're rusting in the
Yeah.
desert. Here's a good one. Let's stop seeing each other as enemies and start seeing each other for who we are, fellow Americans.
Yeah.
Right. Now, for all of you who went to Washington on January 6th,
You don't count.
you don't count.
No.
And for all of you that were arrested for trespassing on public property, by the way, you know, taxpayers trespassing on public property. Do I support roughing up the police? No. Do I support breaking windows? No. But you know what? There's a bunch of people who just walked up and walked in the door.
Yeah.
Because the cops let them in and they're walking around. And we used to say, this is the people's house. Well, here are the people. Oh, get them out of here.
Right.
No, the deplorables, January 6th. We will not stop seeing each other as enemies and start seeing each other as fellow Americans, because that's not what the Democrats and Joe Biden believe. They believe they are the enemy. And so here we go. Oh, this is a good one. Now, this is one that all the Second Amendment people really like. And folks, ban assault weapons with high-capacity magazines that hold up to 100 rounds. You think the deer were wearing a Kevlar vest?
Yeah.
Hey, Joe.
So funny.
Second Amendment isn't about hunting.
No.
You know, have you read the Constitution? Have you read anything on the Second Amendment? Or is that just a joke? In other words, it's a joke
Right.
to take away people's Second Amendment rights in the Bill of Rights. What about the First Amendment, the right to speak? What about the Fourth Amendment, the right to privacy? Maybe there's some folks that had their privacy invaded by the FBI. Maybe even a president like President Trump, who had the executive office of the president invaded, spied upon by the Hillary Clinton campaign, a rogue Justice Department, a crazy CIA and FBI that's out of control.
Right.
But that's just the Fourth Amendment. It's just an amendment,
That's
Joe.
it. Nothing.
That doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter. And then finally, you know, you get into this thing where he talks about the soldiers, and my son Bo. People came back from these wars and they were numb and they were dizzy, and cancer that would put them in a flag draped coffin, like my son Major Joe Biden.
Right.
Okay, now I mean, we've heard this before. There's no scientific evidence whatsoever
Right.
to prove that Major Joe Biden, who, as far as I know, served with distinction in Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm not sure which spot. There's no evidence whatsoever
Right.
that burn pits have created a